Hi guys, I'm Stacey from the Cosy Owl team. We're doing a live tonight with Abby from Make Sense Candles, just going through diffusers, how to make them, how to be legally compliant, and anything else that you need to know. We've got you covered. Hope you're all well there today. We've got a bit of more information as well when it comes to your IFRA documents. Currently, a lot of the fragrances aren't suitable for reed diffusers, but we will be changing them hopefully by the end of this summer so that you can start adding them in your diffusers and not just your candles and wax melts. I'm pretty sure Abby will be with us any moment. I can see that she's joined, so she should be joining the conversation momentarily. Please do let us know in the comments your favourite fragrances and any that you are hoping are soon going to be compatible with diffusers, or any you'd like us to kind of fast track for you if you've got them already. Here we are. Let's just... She's joining now.
Hi, Stacey.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you. Not too bad.
Fabulous. I'm very echoey in here. I've just realised, so if that's annoying, let me know.
No, not bothering me.
It is my last day, pretty much, in my flat, so it's an empty shell.
Empty.
I'm really excited to be here. It's a really nice question to ask people as well. What oils they're hoping that are part of their main collection will be able to go through onto reed diffusers.
Quite exciting.
Yeah, let us know if anyone has just decided to start making diffusers, or whether you've been doing it for a little while now, because you probably know more than me. But today I'm going to show you how to make diffusers at home, and it's so easy that I can do it on this live, quite touch wood. Yeah, so I'm really interested to hear your journey as well. My name's Abby. I started working with Cosy Owl a couple of years ago now, and I basically started a small business primarily with candles, and then moving into wax melts and diffusers back in lockdown. I'm sure many of you were the same as well, so you probably started during a similar time. So if you did, let me know, because it's always interesting to see who joins these lives and have a bit of a chat as well. We're here to answer your questions as much as like tell you about different tips or new products as well on these lives. So if there's anything we can help with, let us know. Stacey, do you want to introduce yourself as well? Where you're...
Yeah, I'm Stacey, part of the Cosy Owl sales team, and also deal with a lot of customer service inquiries as well where I can. Predominantly, I'm the more technical sort of focused member, so dealing with your IFRS, your SDS, your CLPs, all of that information. Try not to bore you with it all too much tonight.
No, I think it's really useful, especially hearing that kind of information, but in a digestible way on this live. So.
Yeah, you can read so much where you just think, no, that's it, I'm not even going to try. Whereas when you get down to it, it's actually really quite simple. It's just scary words thrown at you.
I think that's probably a good place to start then. So start with the scary stuff, because I'm sure that's what people are interested in who are joining. So why is it that certain diffusers, if we go back to the beginning, certain fragrance oils can't be used in diffusers now?
So there used to be, well, there's always been an IFRA document, but we used to follow the 48th Amendment IFRA, which pretty much didn't put diffusers in a category rather at all. So they weren't very strict regulations on them. Now with, I would say over the last sort of 3 years, reed diffusers have really taken off. You can find them in any store pretty much, and a lot of people are making them from home now. So because of how easy they are to make. So with that information, the new IFRA came out with the 49th and the 50th Amendment, which pretty much categorised an entire category for reed diffusers and products like that. So it's category 10A, if that makes sort of any information to anybody out there. So that just means they're a lot more restrictive now on how much fragrance oil can be used in a diffuser. I think probably the biggest thing is the fact that it's an open, somewhat container with reeds in it, so it's easily accessible by a lot of young people. We have had numerous phone calls. My child's drank the reed diffuser that has your oils in it. So from that, and you'd be surprised how often that does happen. So they've basically been a lot more restrictive. Now, certain of our fragrances, since moving to the 49th Amendment, weren't suitable anymore for a diffuser. Now, when we say weren't suitable, it just means the percentage level that it can be used at is less than 20%. So really, you could still use it at 10%, but you may not achieve that fragrance that you, like the fragrance scent throw that you're after. So it just means that we're now reformulating all of them. So again, they are suitable across the board. So they can be used in soap, candle, melts, and diffusers. We kind of want a one fragrance does all. So it's more something we've got to do with the fragrance oil, just to kind of alter it slightly, remove particular chemicals if they're what's causing it. By chemicals, I don't mean dangerous chemicals. A lot of the time they are naturally derived. I suppose chemicals is the best word to use, but that we're just changing and moving around so that they're suitable again.
I mean, we've spoken before about essential oils. Now, you wouldn't use essential oils in diffusers as far as I'm aware, but those are naturally derived, and quite often you can't mix those together because that will cause a lot of problems. So it's, yeah, the chemical, I think that's why it's good to talk about it, because
because it sounds like such a scary word. You instantly think of acid, but I mean, every single liquid, fruit, anything that's taken from that juice is classed as a chemical. And even orange, if you look at an orange essential oil, it will have a chemical name, even though it's an essential oil. It's just a different name put to the makeup of that liquid, I suppose.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah. So with putting kind of this aside, when we are choosing a fragrance oil to use in a diffuser, we'd have a look at the STS sheets, we'd have a look at which fragrance oil on the listing was suitable for diffusers. So you're looking for that percentage that is higher. So
exactly. The easiest way to see on our website at the moment what fragrances are currently suitable at 20+% is if you go to the craft section, go to reed diffusers, which is where you'll find anything diffuser related. There is a section that says fragrances for diffusers. They are all there that are currently suitable, and as any change, they'll move into that category. So you'll see them all go into there as they become suitable. It's the easiest way to find them on the website.
That's really useful. So I'm kind of thinking about going through this from if someone's beginning to make something, or maybe just looking to refresh their knowledge. So when we talk about reed diffusers, we're not talking about the diffusers that you maybe drop some essential oils in with water and then it evaporates into the air.
Yeah, no.
These are the ones we're talking about. So ones that have containers, you have a mix of a base oil in there and a fragrance oil, and then you add reeds in, basically.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about there. Once you've picked your fragrance oil, we need to then talk about CLPs and safety, which is another side of things.
Yeah.
But you could, if you're new to this completely, and it was actually how I started my small business with one of these kits with the candle version of this, but Cosy Owl last year basically launched a few more different kits. So I've got one here, I'm going to jump back, which is the reed diffuser kit, which is the biggest one that you guys do, so it makes a really nice gift. But in here is
for Mother's Day.
Oh, good luck. This is so easy to make that even the non-craftiest person could get involved in this as well.
Yeah. I mean, I got it for a Christmas gift one year for my 8-year-old niece at the time, and she absolutely loved making it for her bedroom. So it's perfect.
Yeah, there's no heating involved. There's nothing dangerous in that respect, as long as the child is old enough to know
not to drink it.
This liquid. And you, of course, you'll be watching anyway, or someone will be watching. You know, it's perfectly safe to do. If you wanted to wear gloves or a mask, you know, that's up to you as well. But these kits are great because they've got everything that you need in the quantities that you need to get started. So I'll just show you what's in the kit. We've done this before, but we'll do a bit of a refresher and then talk about how you'd get it ready to sell it if you wanted to. So in this kit, you have got this one that I've made earlier, which sounds so cringe when I say that out loud.
One behind me as well.
Yeah.
As well.
So this is the largest size. This is 200 mils. So I'll just show you this one as well. This is 100. And then you've got 3 containers. So you've got quite a few to try out and then gift to different people if you want to. You've got the last one is a cube one. So these two are 100 mils and the other one is 200 mils. You've also got 3 types of packets of reed diffusers. So I've got 1 in white and 2 in black in here. So it gives you a different kind of aesthetic, and then you've also got different lids as well and a little stopper for each of them. Of course, you've got instructions. I'm just going to move little bits out of the way, which, like with all the kits, are really easy to follow because they've just got pictures as well as instructions. And you'll probably find a visual guide or a video on Cosy Owl's YouTube.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah, there would be.
And then in there, we've got 2 of the main ingredients, which is your base oil and your fragrance oil. And that is enough to make all of the 3 diffusers in then. Possibly, like with your other kits, there's some left over.
Yeah, so predominantly what we send in the kit is the right amount for each. You might have a little bit of the base oil left over, but you probably would end up using all of the fragrance oil.
And the good thing with these diffusers, if you're having them in your own home or you're gifting them, they last a really long time. So if someone's not a candle person, 3 to 6 months, depending on the space. Have you got any tips, Stacey, for like what space works best for different diffusers?
So you want to keep the diffusers away from a windowsill. In sort of direct sunlight, we're not getting much of that at the moment. But in the sunlight, they can discolour, evaporate really quickly. The fragrance will evaporate quicker than the orgeat oil. So you're going to sort of lose that scent much quicker with it being on a windowsill in the summer. And also, again, in the winter, you want to keep it away from the windowsills just because the much colder weather, like we're experiencing, is going to cause the fragrance and the orgeat oil to separate. So because they've got different densities, they'll separate, and you'll find the fragrance oil will sit on top of the orgeat oil, which then just means it's going to alter how well that kind of diffuses into the room from that product. So yeah, if you're finding it's separating, it's predominantly just because it's colder weather at the moment. So move it perhaps to somewhere where it's going to be a bit warmer in the room. That's just going to help it diffuse better.
And I think if anyone's at the point where they're selling diffusers, as much information you can give customers, the better. So it's the same as working with candles and different types of waxes. If they perform slightly differently, it might be worth telling customers how soy wax performs, for example. So it might have an uneven texture, that kind of thing. So letting people know in the colder months these might split would save you from having questions, customer complaints, that kind of thing that people don't know. Right, let me show you quickly how to make it, and then we'll talk about CLPs.
Perfect.
Just save the best.
Can't wait.
So in this kit, so as we said, these diffuser kits have got everything you need to. These particular fragrance oils would be the ones that are suitable for diffusers, so you don't have to worry about that. And ideally, you would have a measuring jug, unless you packed it away somewhere. But I'm joking anyway. But basically, you would properly measure out your ingredient, because this is the only thing that you really need to do with diffusers. We are generally working at an 80-20%. You could work 75-25. It makes it nice and easy because this is a 100 ml container. So I could do 25 mils of fragrance oil and 75 of the base oil. But you want to start at that kind of point, and then you can go up and down slightly, depending on CLP rules, to a maximum amount, depending on that, and see what works best. Because actually, the amount of reeds that you add in, like this, I've got quite a few in here, that's going to give me quite a strong scent throat. I could take some of those away to weaken the scent. So it could be to do with that, or it could be to do with the measurements that you're adding initially. That's part of your testing process. Yeah, I'm just going to free pour this, which is not what you're meant to do. So I'm going for roughly a quarter, but you would measure this out to be the specific measurement. This is wood sage and sea salt. This is very beachy, and I'm quite interested to see how it works in a diffuser, because it's quite strong.
That's quite intriguing as well, because when I smell that fragrance, I smell quite a spa-like scent. So it's interesting actually to see how it's perceived from you compared to how I perceive it as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's quite like driftwood. I'm imagining walking on a beach on a cold day at the moment, but it could just be the time of year. So I've put the base oil in there on top of the fragrance oil. And I've given myself another job to do by spilling it on the side. And if you spill fragrance oil on the side, it might tarnish, as might the base oil, so do be really careful. And then you could put this in a jug first of all, with measuring it out, and then use one of the reed diffusers, the reeds, sorry, to stir it and mix it in. Or you might use another kind of implement. Depends if you're making it for yourself or like en masse for other people, I think. And you want to make sure that it's basically mixed in really, really well, so that you're not causing any separation initially. And you want to make sure that it's basically the scent all the way through. Now, if I was going to just have this on side myself, I would add in another 5 reeds, so I'd maybe go for 6 reeds in there, and I would pop over one of the little caps that are in the kit, and I would just pop that on the side, leave it like that. You could flip the reeds, but because these are fibre reeds, you shouldn't need to, they shouldn't clog, there shouldn't be any problems. And if I was going to send this off to somebody who was purchasing this, I would get one of the stoppers, stick that in the top, and push it in firmly, and just probably guide someone on when they took it apart, not to flick it and make it go everywhere. And I'd also pop a label on there and a CLP, and that is it. So it takes about 2 minutes basically.
Yeah, it's such an easy product to make, and it's such a great addition to like a candle, so you can have a full-on kit with the same scent as like an extra special kind of kit. You can mark it up in price when selling it, because it's sold as a pair. It's such an easy thing to do, to turn a one item sort of gift into a double pack featured kind of product.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah.
And I think when you mention Mother's Day, that's a good time to sort of mention, if you've got diffusers in your collection already, we've talked about these on the live before, you can change the labels. You know, it can still be the same product, you might want to change the name, because you can do that, or do something that's like a Mother's Day theme label, floral label, something like that.
Brilliant idea there.
So with diffuser CLPs,
yes,
what do I do with that if I'm
so technically, well, whilst we provide CLP labels at a 5, 10 and 15% fragrance load, the 25% one still isn't suitable for your diffusers. Basically, with, say for example, you're making a candle, your wax isn't classed as a chemical, so just the fragrance is the only item that needs to be on your CLP. Whereas when it comes to a diffuser, the Orgio base oil is also classed as a chemical. So you do need a combination CLP to be created. Now, currently, we don't have the technology in-house that would allow us to create that combination CLP. So it is something that would need to be sourced externally. The best thing I can recommend that people do is, if you join the Cosy Owl candle making Facebook group, you can just put a post on there, ask other people where they go to get those labels made up, and they're so good at giving like advice as to who they've used and it's worked really well, they've been a good company, or if they've got any negative experiences with a company. They're very so fourth giving with that information, it's such a good place to be. Again, it's like that with candles, diffusers, melts, soap even. Just sometimes having the opinion of somebody who's used somebody already is such a good place to go to get that information.
Definitely. It can save you a lot of money in terms of your
Oh,
startup costs.
yeah, definitely.
So in an ordinary situation, if we were to say that there wasn't the 49th Amendment and we were already there with the CLPs, to start that ball rolling, you would basically head to the information on each of the fragrance oils, and there it would list all of the hazards basically that are in that particular product. That's right. And for the diffusers, it's the base oil and the fragrance oil, whereas for a candle, it would just be the fragrance oil. And then basically all that label is, and I say this all the time on the CLP, it's not scary, it's just basically ingredients and allergens.
Yes, yeah.
If you were going to have a chocolate bar that had nuts in, you'd want to know about that if you had a nut allergy.
Exactly, yeah.
So that is basically it, and that's why it's so important and nothing to be feared. You can also go above and beyond and pop the ingredients on your website as well and have that as a label on, and it has to be affixed to your product. But we've got, I think, lots of lives and guides from before about CLPs and which keywords you need on there and where, and pictograms as well.
And predominantly, when it comes to making reed diffusers, the most important document to look at before making them is the IFRA. That's IFRA, all in capitals. It's that document that's going to tell you the safe percentage to use. It's always the one to go to for making anything with a fragrance. It's going to just outlay what percentage is safe to use the item at, and it really does just make it as easy as that. It's finding the right category. It's all outlaid really well. So yeah, definitely the best starting place to go.
Yeah. If anyone's been watching along and has just started making diffusers or has got any questions at all about anything, we could take a couple of questions before signing off today. But this video, as far as I'm aware, will be saved to the Cosy Owl Instagram page. You can fast forward all the little bits, go back to the tips, whatever you want to do. So it will be there.
They also get saved onto the website as well under the info and guide section. So that's always a place to head to as well. There's actually a guide on there for selling your items, what you need to know, which takes you through insurances, everything like that. So that's also a really good read as well.
Yeah, really important. That's something we didn't cover today, but you want to make sure that you're covered for diffusers and you've gone through all your testing in the same way that you would for candle making as well.
Absolutely. But if it's just a homemade thing where you're making it for yourself at home, which I do a lot of, as you can see, why wouldn't I? I've got it all on tap. So yeah, with that, the CLP, the labeling, things like that don't really come into it because you're not selling it. So it's just a case of mixing it exactly as you've seen tonight, but also checking on the IFRA that it's suitable at that percentage.
Yeah, if you don't have to, you don't need to get bogged down with anything. But I think it's good to know as a maker, like what ingredients are going into your products that you're selling. Then you can make sure that all your claims that you're making are accurate. Whether you're describing things as eco-friendly or whether they are or not, and depending on your sort of values. So I think it's good to be informed about that. But I don't think we've answered everyone's questions, Stacey.
Winning.
But if anyone does have any questions, you can always pop them over to me or the team at Cosy Owl. They're always there. They're there more than I am. But yeah, that's fabulous.
Perfect. Well, it's been a pleasure. I hope your move goes well.
Yes, thank you. I've got to clean up the fragrance oil now. That's my first job.
Quickly.
Yeah.
No worries. Well, have a good evening and take care, Cosy Owlers.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.